Welcome to New to the Street. This is your weekly hack with Alain Ghiai. Alain is with Globex Data, the leader in Swiss-hosted private and secure communications and data management. Welcome back, Alain.
Thank you, Anna. Happy to be here and welcome to our viewer.
Well, I always learn so much, so let's get right into it. Okay, let's talk about targets on the internet. What are some of the most tempting targets that attracts attackers the most when it comes to the web?
Yeah, so basically a new year and a new report, and we look forward to basically, unfortunately, all the news that's going to come in, because it's going to be also a little bit in the US, there's an election year for the Senate. In Europe, you have presidential election. So there was an article that talks about the most favorite targets. And among the top 2, 3, you had the VPNs. So you have a lot of people using VPN. A lot of them are free VPN, or paid VPN that you configure yourself. Well, VPNs are a big target of hackers, because obviously somebody who uses a VPN is trying to hide their ID or their location, or sometimes, basically that's what it is. And also sometimes they secure a particular connection, ideally. Most of the VPNs don't work, they have been hacked, etc. There's a couple of good ones out there. So the hackers are looking at VPN users. So that's another one. If you use a VPN, I would recommend a VPN that uses the highest encryption level, and don't go for the free guys that you can configure yourself. So that's one. The other thing is Exchange Online, or EOL. Older version of Exchange Online, and older could be from 3 months ago, are vulnerable because they're such a huge target that they try to patch them more and more, but you just can't do that every day. So you're bound to have, statistically, you're bound to be hacked, because every week there's pretty much articles out there showing, and then Microsoft goes and patches them. But what happens is you want to make sure that you're proactive. Even companies, and this is mostly for the corporate world, which is dangerous, because now businesses and corporations are affected. So corporations need to be a lot more proactive. If you're a small business and you don't have an IT department, use a secure service instead, pun intended. Obviously, we're going to talk about secure in a minute. But basically, try to get something that's already highly encrypted and secure, similar pricing as opposed to Exchange Online, because you don't have the resources to patch, and then you have to pay extra for an IT company to come and patch you every month. Another big thing is anybody that's using a version of SolarWind. I was reading a few articles, and SolarWind 2.0 is coming in terms of attackers. There was an article that talked about Zoho, which is a very famous software, also open source and free in many cases. Zoho has a single sign-on and a password management tool that could be now a big target for SolarWind 2.0 attacks. So I think most of our small businesses don't even know they use SolarWind. SolarWind is used by many application and SaaS service, software as a service. You may have an email marketing tool, and then they use SolarWind. You may have some other thing. But what we do know, if you use Exchange Online or Exchange Server, everybody knows when they use the Exchange Mail, you want to patch those. And most consumers know that they use a VPN. Do not use a free service. Use a paid service that's highly encrypted. That's what I would recommend.
Good. Well, when it comes to consumers, everyone has an email, right? And so talk to us a little bit about what Sekur has implemented, these new rules to help eliminate some spam. We all get spam and we all hate spam, but sometimes spam can be pretty dangerous.
Yes, so spam is going to increase even more because of many reasons, one of them being the election. The other thing is the COVID situation. So there's so many phases, so many things happening now, from pandemic to endemic, or new vaccines or new medicine, basically anything medical related to the COVID situation, you're going to get spam, and also election and so forth. So what we did, we are basically being proactive, because we discovered a couple of bad apples in the basket, so to speak. It would be 1 in 1,000, but still that would be damaging, that they were using our services to spam others, even though we have done restricted measures. So in about 2-3 weeks, we will be implementing and deploying a new system where if you're a free trial users, because we do offer a free trial for 7 days, you can only send an email to 2 recipients. We had 20, we had unlimited, and we shortened it to 20. That didn't work. So now we're going to shorten it to 2 recipients. And the frequency of the email is what you need to watch. So what we're doing is that we're restricting you to 1 email every 5 minutes. So a spammers is not going to be interested to wait 5 minutes to send an email to only 2 people. It's unfortunate that we have to do that because we have so many legitimate users. As I said, it's 1 in 1,000. But as the service becomes bigger and more recognized, this was actually a European person, don't want to mention the country, that was doing that, but that happens worldwide, right? So we're doing that. And if you want to pay, because until now you had the free 7 days and then they would convert to paid users, we will make sure that people can just convert to paid users without waiting the 7 days, because you have 99.9% of our users are legitimate and they want to send a regular email. But it's enough to test it, to see if the email works, if you like it, if you like the user interface. So that's what we're implementing. It will be deployed in about 2-3 weeks from now. And that protects both the recipients that we don't know, those people getting the spam. It protects our secure user and, of course, our reputation, because if you have too much spam report, you could be blacklisted by the ISPs. So it endangers our business. We have a terms of use. It's clearly dictated. And if somebody tries it for a malicious purpose, they'll get their account shut down with no refund.
Well, imagine
companies can do that, but few do it because it's so restrictive, and most companies offer a free service, so there's no way to punish the bad actor.
Right. Well, and imagine an email without getting spam. I often send to you, I get this spam daily, and it's scary because we don't know where it's coming from. How do they get our information? So imagine an email service where there is no spam. Hard to imagine.
Never reach 100%, but we do have a junk or a spam filtering. So if you receive any spam or junk on a secure mail, on the web mail, or even non-web mail, you basically click spam, and the system learns as an artificial intelligence. So it will learn eventually over time. We have a fairly good system. It's never 100% because you always have people that are more creative. The only thing we can do is tell our users, when you get spam, click on the spam button on our interface and it will recognize, and eventually it will block fully. We do have an excellent system. We've had some stories where people were getting a ton of spam, and within, a few days of switching to us, it has reduced 99%. I never say 100 because there's always one that squeaks by, but definitely we have a big reduction in spam with our system. And also another thing to avoid spam, whichever email you use, don't use these emails. If you have an email that you want to keep private, don't register for newsletters, don't register for free services, because these emails are being sold, especially in the US, and eventually a spammer is going to get access to it and spam you. So be more vigilant with how you use that email address. And again, that's why in many of our sessions, I mentioned use 3 different email addresses. You get your couple free service and you have your secure mail.
Yep, that's great advice. The free email for all that stuff, and then the secure mail for the important data that we want to keep private. Well, good. Thank you so much. We look forward to you joining us again in the future, because I know you have lots of updates coming out this year, and it's going to be perfect because this is going to be a very vulnerable year for our data security and privacy. So we appreciate all that you're doing out there to keep our information safe. So thank you so much for joining us again on New to the Street.
Thank you, and a pleasure to be here, and looking forward to see you and our viewers next week.
Thank you all for watching.